Last week in episode 43, I put together a DFS lineup, walked through it step by step, the creation of it, what I ended up with, recommended it as a good 50-50 play. I felt like it was a very safe 50-50, double your money more or less, if you do DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever. It was a DraftKings lineup. It ended up finishing in the top 7% roughly in tournaments, easily finished in the top 50 and 50-50. Three of the top 8 scorers were in my lineup, and 4 of those top 8 were quarterbacks. I started Joe Burrow, which turned out to be awful. But of the other 4 non-quarterbacks in the top 8, 3 were in my lineup. So it hit really well, great value, and that's how you do it. If you can get, a few really high scorers, that should be enough to carry you to 50-50, which is why, as always, I don't spend a lot on tight end, because I'm not getting generally more than 20 points out of any tight end, with the rare exceptions. But putting $6,500 of budget on that when I can spend the same amount and get 30 plus out of a wide receiver as a ceiling, it's much better to just go with the receiver. Same thing with defense. You just can't predict it. A defensive touchdown messes everything up, which means you could spend a lot on a defense and maybe get 8 points, and you could spend nothing on a defense and get 12 because they get a defensive touchdown. This week, heading into tomorrow's games, I'm going to have one. You might be listening to this Sunday. I'm dropping it though on Saturday, and I've got 2 lineups. And you may be thinking, DJ, you're hedging, and I am, admittedly. 2 lineups, each of which I think will hit 50-50, but I'm playing them a little bit differently, but a lot of the same players. So here's what I've got. In one of them, I'm assuming the Cowboys rebound from a rough loss in which they didn't play terribly. It was just a road game, opening game against the Eagles on the road. And what are you going to do in that instance? So, of course, most guys collapsed. Javonte Williams got his 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb got his points. But essentially, the offense was not clicking. It will click at home against the Giants. So I've got Dak Prescott at quarterback. At running back, I have, again, one of my favorite underrated preseason running backs, Breece Hall. Hopefully folks have caught on now. He is the real deal. He was the real deal 3 years ago before he got hurt, then 2 years ago, and last year it just didn't work out. But he's still the real deal. And Travis Etienne, now that he has that backfield more to himself, even though he did last week, it's a little thinner with Tank Bigsby gone, and so there's more confidence that Etienne is not going to get pulled if he gets a slow start. That's really the big thing for me. Both are pretty good values. Etienne is like 5,700, which is maybe the 12th, 13th most expensive running back. Not bad for all the 1 o'clock Eastern games. I've put most of my funds, as you're about to see, in wide receiver, the 3 wide receiver slots. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson. Notice I'm pairing Dak Prescott with CeeDee Lamb. I thought about also putting in George Pickens. I think Pickens will get going in a terrific matchup against the Giants. Pickens is pretty good. I would bet on 15 plus points. The problem is Pickens is pretty expensive still. I don't want to spend that much on a number 2 wide receiver. I want 3 number 1s, alpha receivers in my lineup. Jamar Chase is going to get probably 28 plus points. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens. At tight end, Harold Fannin, who I didn't give any credit to going into week 1. I thought David Njoku would be the clear number 1 in an offense that would struggle. And instead, look what happened. I was completely wrong. Fannin has a big game. Cedric Tillman has a big game. It's tough. It's tough to predict what the Browns are going to do when you think, as I do, that their offense is going to struggle. And it sometimes takes a couple weeks to kind of correct the ship a little bit and right the ship and kind of rethink, okay, I guess this is the new reality. I'm starting to embrace the possibility that the Browns offense will be better than I expected, and therefore I have to at least somewhat embrace that new reality. That's why in the flex spot, I have a very inexpensive Cedric Tillman. I think he's like 4,300. Fits perfectly with the lineup. And I'm going bottom of the barrel, Titans defense. I think there's one defense cheaper. It might be the Browns. The Titans are at home against the Rams. I like Kyron Williams' inefficiency on the ground, and I like the fact that Matthew Stafford is old. So even though the Titans might give up points, their defense is good enough to get 5+ points, which for 2,200 or 2,400, whatever I'm paying, is worth it with the stack I have everywhere else. The other lineup has many similarities. All the wide receivers are the same. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson. I'm not going to mess around with that. I feel confident. I have Dak Prescott feeding CeeDee Lamb in the first lineup. I have Justin Fields feeding Garrett Wilson in the second lineup. And because I have Justin Fields, I don't have Breece Hall because I can't envision a repeat of Fields, Hall, and Wilson all dominating. I think it's quite possible that two of the three will do great against the Bills. I don't know that all three will, and I don't want to bet on that right now. I don't feel comfortable betting on all three. So Breece Hall's out of the lineup in this one with Fields and Wilson, and instead I have Christian McCaffrey, who, man, I hope he does not get 31 touches again. It's tough to see, but he possibly will on a team that is decimated by injuries, and he's very expensive. But if he is the offensive focal point and a safety valve for Mac Jones, then wonderful. I could spend like $2,500 less and get Brian Robinson, but why? You know, like that $2,500 less. So I'm basically spending 2/3 the amount. Does that mean Brian Robinson's going to get 2/3 the reduction of Christian McCaffrey? No. In all likelihood, no. And so I'm going all in with McCaffrey. And then it's the number two. I could have gone Etienne again if I had reworked some things, moved some, maybe changed out a wide receiver. I didn't want to do that. I'm going David Montgomery, who's one of the cheapest good running backs at 5,400. And he should be good for about 12 touches, maybe a little more, some receptions, and you never know when he gets a touchdown or two. I mean, he averaged over 15 points a game last year, as the number two in Detroit. He could do that again. So I'm comfortable putting him in that lineup with McCaffrey, front loading it. And then finally, on the tail end, we have Fannin again. We have the Titans again, but at wide receiver, not a lot of dollars left, only like 3,400 or something. So I'm going with another guy. I'm trying to right the ship in my head of realizing, oh, maybe he is somebody, Isaac Tesla. He's dirt cheap in DFS. The problem is he only had one catch. I think he only had one offensive snap last week. But the assumption, they were based on reports and just based on logic, is that, look, he's, rookie, whatever, fourth rounder, and he's ramping into the offense. He will get more looks. Even if he gets 10 snaps, he might get 3 looks. And for that price, all I'm hoping for is that McCaffrey, Lamb, Chase, and Wilson do their thing. If Fields does his thing, even better. If Montgomery gets a touchdown, even better. But I don't need all those guys to hit. If I just have the big four getting 15 plus points, I'm off to the races, right? Lamb, Chase, Wilson, McCarthy. If one of them gets 30 plus, I'm in great shape because it's going to be very hard for other people to be able to invest in all those guys. There's a lot more balanced lineups out there. But since I have these top heavy, guys who could, each of them could hit in a perfect storm 40 points, I'm going for the big boom. And for me right now in 50-50, that's fine. I think that'll work. And I got to say, these are also fine for tournaments. I'd feel very comfortable. And that's different than what I've done in the past. In the past, I've said this is good for 50-50, not tournament. I kind of changed my thinking on that. I think I overthought it and thought, well, let's hedge. Let's play it safe. And it's true. I mean, if I had Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in the lineup, it's possible that could be a bit of a hedge. And maybe that's not going to be perfect for a tournament play. But I'm not really thinking that way anymore. If it's good enough for 50-50, I'm throwing a buck at a tournament and I'm seeing what happens. BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners. Follow me on the blog. Comment anytime. Email me anytime, and we'll see you tomorrow.